And the recording is on. No, it invades my privacy. Just kidding. Don't leave, mate. You can always leave. And right now, John is the host. Okay. And the recording is still on. You can still see my screen, right? You can still see everything.
Yes.
You can still hear me loud and clear.
Yes.
Perfect. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, guys. This is Wednesday. I hope you're having a beautiful day, beautiful week. Let's kill this day because I believe there will be huge opportunities today because we are in the 4-hour supply zone right now. And let's start the day with analyzing the market. Okay, let's focus on this region and let's start with clean charts. So as you can see, here was a huge range. We talked about this several times. Here was a huge range since the end of November. It has been swept at the beginning of January at this point. All of the range highs and lows has been swept with this movement and this movement. After this, after the highs being swept, price change character here to the downside, as you can see, and created this extreme zone up here, which was leading to a shift in the order flow, in the overall order flow. So it shifted the order flow from bullish to bearish. Right now we are in this region, as you can see. Okay, let's continue from this supply zone. As you can see, under this supply zone, all of the other supply zones are mitigated by the following price action here. So all of these supply zones here, liquidity, everything is being mitigated by this following price action. Okay, let's focus on the fresh new price action in this region. As you can see, this movement happened last week, or maybe the week before last week. Price tapped the zone here, created liquidity for the zone and for the daily supply zone. I will just mark it as liquidity up. So price has created liquidity here, created a small pullback. And as we were talking about last week, I was expecting the tap of this new extreme supply zone, which changed character here to the downside, created a small bearish order flow and built up lots of liquidity and even more liquidity for this zone. And even more liquidity for the daily zone up here. So basically, this is our daily supply level up here, which caused the inefficient push to the downside, broke structure here to the downside, swept liquidity from this region, swept liquidity on many places. So basically, this liquidity was built up for this daily supply zone, but the liquidity sweep was enough to reverse price to the downside. Okay, let's switch back to the 4-hour chart. And I'm just asking a question for John. Can you allow participants to join to the meeting?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, perfect. So let's continue. So, very nice. Price fed the liquidity to the upside here, as you can see. It's perfectly liquidity sweep candle to the upside. I will just mark it as a sweep. Sweep to the upside. It's on the top. And as you can see, it's the perfect liquidity sweep candle. It's all we learned about liquidity sweep candles. It's on the 4-hour chart because this was a 4-hour liquidity. Here's the first tap, here's the second tap. And this candle is just a perfect liquidity sweep candle because it swept the liquidity with wick. It didn't close below the overall liquidity line and the overall supply zone. It just swept the liquidity and shifted the order flow again into bearish until this point, which is our flip zone, 4-hour demand flip zone, as you can see. Why is the flip zone? Can you just mark the supply that was flipped by this zone? Please just draw on my screen and mark that supply zone that was flipped by this demand zone. Can you just draw on my screen? Yeah, you can draw. Yeah, exactly. SkyTrader was the one. Exactly. Please delete the drawings because I can't do it because I'm not the host. So yeah, exactly. This was the supply zone that was flipped by the demand zone. I don't know whose drawing is this, but just please delete this. This supply zone and actually this supply zone up here was flipped by this demand zone down here. So this is our 4-hour flip zone. And I was expecting, please just delete this brown drawing from your screen, please. I don't know whose drawing it is. John, can you delete the drawings, please?
How can I delete this?
Okay, I'm reclaiming host.
Okay.
Oh my God, guys. Sorry for this meeting.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle. Okay, I don't know how to delete the drawing. For real. Okay, now it's all fixed. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Now, let's keep going. So this flip zone, flip this supply zone up here, this 4-hour supply zone. As you can see, price perfectly acted in this zone, created a small rejection here, couldn't break below the last demand zone, which was this one in this case. This was a last demand zone. Price reacted on this demand zone. As you can see, couldn't create a change of character on the 4-hour chart. Instead of creating a 4-hour change of character to the downside, it just blew to the upside with huge news-powered movements. These candles were powered by news, and these candles swept the liquidity, swept the supply zone. As you can see, swept this liquidity from this region, swept this liquidity from this region, swept this supply zone, swept this supply zone, swept several supply zones, and created a huge, really huge inefficient move to the upside. So this is a really valid 4-hour flip zone down here, which was price reacting on earlier this week on Monday. We had a reaction on this demand zone on Monday. Okay, what can you see on this chart right now? We can see that the last breakout structure was created here. Here's our last breakout structure to the downside, as you can see. And the start of this overall breakout structure and inefficient movement was this candle up here. This supply zone. This is our decisional supply zone on the 4-hour chart. And as you can see, price broke above this supply zone with this movement after the flip zone reaction. So it basically changed character to the upside. Here's a change of character. Here's a change of character to the upside on the 4-hour chart. I will just mark this candle as a change of character. Sorry, not this one. I will mark this candle as a change of character because this is the last structural high point, and it will be a change of character to the upside on the 4-hour chart. And as you can see, price built up perfect liquidity for the extreme zone. We have an extreme zone right here. This is a 4-hour extreme supply zone that has created a huge inefficiency to the downside, as you can see, swept liquidity from this region, swept trillions of dollars in liquidity, and created a pretty nice breakout structure to the upside and a very clear supply zone. And one more confluence for this supply zone is that it has a liquidity. As you can see, here's the first step, here's the second step. So perfect liquidity was built up for this supply zone. And as I've sent you in the markups yesterday, I was waiting for the top of this supply zone. I've sent you in the markups that this supply zone will be swept and this supply zone will be tapped. It had a really high chance that this supply zone was about to be broken and this supply zone was about to be tapped because there was liquidity, and markets are controlled by liquidity. Everything moves around liquidity. Okay, so right now we are in this 4-hour supply zone, as you can see. I'm asking you, what should we wait for this in this scenario? What are we waiting for inside of this 4-hour supply zone? What do we need?
15-minute chart.
15-minute chart.
Exactly, we need a 15-minute change of character. And why do we need a 15-minute change of character?
Because we're in a 4-hour zone.
Exactly. We are in a 4-hour zone. So this 4-hour zone right here is our biased decisional zone. Let me tell you why. Basically, price reacted on this flip zone down here, as you can see, this really valuable flip zone, which created the inefficient move, liquidity sweep, breakout structure, change of character on several places, several liquidity sweeps. So price reacted on this flip zone down here, had a really strong rejection, as you can see, V-shaped recovery. And after a recovery, it just blew through a supply zone, which was a decisional liquidity supply zone, because this supply zone right here is just liquidity. Okay, why am I telling you that this is a biased decisional supply zone? I'm telling you this because if this supply zone can hold price, and create a change of character either on the 4-hour chart or either on the 15-minute chart, there's a really high probability for the short continuations and the new daily roll form. Because if this supply zone can reject price, if this supply zone can change character on the 4-hour chart and continue the bearish movement, we're more likely to hit the daily demand level, which is down here, as you can see. I'll show you this chart several times already. We have this really valuable daily demand zone right here. And let me just zoom in and tell you why it is a really valuable demand zone. because it has liquidity just above it. As you can see, here's a daily liquidity, and here's the other part of the daily liquidity. So basically, this line is just a huge liquidity pool. As you can see, price swept the liquidity with this movement, but there's still inefficiency needs to be filled up. So liquidity was taken out. The overall trend, the overall daily trend is still bearish. As you can see, just simply look at this chart. What can you tell about this chart? Simply by looking at it, what it is right now. Is it bearish or bullish? Just simply look at it and tell me.
Bearish.
Bearish, right? Bearish. Literally, my mom could tell that this is a bearish chart. All bearish movements leading down to this demand zone, this daily demand zone, they change character on the daily chart and the weekly chart. So basically, this demand zone on the daily chart was the start of the whole bullish order flow. As you can see, I'm going to just zoom out. As you can see, if you look at the bigger picture, price was coming down, change character here on the daily chart and the weekly chart in several places, and reacted on the weekly character changing demand zone right here. Change character, reacting on the character changing demand zone on the weekly or monthly chart. And after this, price just gave another impulse upside movement from this demand zone, and started another daily bearish movement to the upside. After this, at this high point, price changed character to the downside, as you can see, and started the bearish order flow. And knowing the fact that this low couldn't take this high out, proves that this low is a weak low, right? Why is it a weak low? Why I'm saying that this is a weak low? Just simply look at the chart.
It didn't do a boss.
Sorry, I couldn't hear because. Repeat it, please.
Yeah, it didn't take out the high.
Exactly, it couldn't take out the high. It couldn't take out the high, exactly. And for the reason it couldn't take out the high, it becomes weak. It becomes weak because price reacted on this supply zone. Price couldn't gain enough fuel. Price couldn't gain enough fuel to break the last high point and create a breaker structure on the weekly or the monthly chart. So this means the overall bearish structure, which has been started from this region, just look at the bearish structure from this region. So the overall yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily structure is still bearish. Price couldn't take out the last weekly high point, this one. This is weak, couldn't take out. We are heading down to this demand zone. More likely this demand zone won't hold. More likely this demand zone will be broken. This demand zone will be broken and we will continue the overall bearish movement. So basically my overall bias, my overall long-term bias for Euro USD is still extremely bearish. And just simply look at this chart. Just simply look at this chart. As you can see, price is creating huge impulsive movement to the downside, building up liquidity for the upside movements, building up liquidity on either side, top side, downside, building up liquidity, sweeping liquidity, tapping in the supply zones and reacting on supply zones. That's our overall pattern right here. As you can see, that's our overall pattern. Price just creating these patterns over and over again, huge bearish movements to the downside, inefficiency, building up liquidity, reacting on supply zones, sweeping liquidity, another impulsive movement. As you can see, this is our overall pattern right here. Impulsive movements to the downside, building up liquidity, reacting on supply zone, impulsive movement, building up liquidity, reacting, impulsive movements. So that's why I'm still expecting the bearish continuations. That's why I'm saying that this supply zone right here is a bias decisional supply zone. Because, let me tell you my explanation. Because if price reacts on this supply zone and can change character on the 50-minute and the 4-hour chart, as I said, the bearish scenario will be continued. The overall higher time frame bearish scenario will be continued. If this supply zone breaks and price can't reverse on this, can reject on this supply zone, and this supply zone breaks, price needs more fuel. Price needs to collect more fuel from this region. Price needs to collect more fuel from this region, needs to fill up this overall inefficiency on the daily chart. And let me just switch back to the daily chart. It needs to fill up this inefficiency and tap into this supply zone, the daily supply zone. So once again, if this supply breaks, we will more likely to see the tap of this overall daily supply zone, levitating back up to this supply zone on the daily level. And after a tap of this daily level, price can gain enough fuel to continue the overall bearish movements. But if price can reverse on this current supply zone, which we are currently in, this one, and it can gain enough fuel to price to reverse it, we will see new daily lows. We will see the continuation of the overall bearish order flow. Okay, that's enough of the 4-hour chart. Is it all clear? Understood everything? Crystal clear? Am I moving too fast? Am I moving too slow?
Yeah.
All
Very
clear.
clear.
All
All
clear.
clear.
Okay, perfect. So let's switch to the 15-minute chart. Sorry, let's go back to the 4-hour chart. Let's see if there's any more demand or supply zone we can mark up. Can we mark up any more supply or demand zone? Aim for this region. Just draw it on my screen, please. I will just drink few. Exactly. That's the one. And sorry, I'm just checking the Discord chat real quick. John, are you still the host?
Yes, I'm the host.
Okay, perfect. So please guys, remove your drawings. We can mark up this demand zone right here. You're perfect. You are perfectly correct. And why am I saying that this is a right demand zone? Please guys, just remove your drawings. The green drawing through, please. Why am I saying that this is a correct demand zone on the 4-hour chart? Because this demand zone was leading to an inefficient push to the upside, as you can see. Here's clear inefficiency on the 4-hour chart. Here's a really clear inefficiency. What else do we have? We have a break of structure to the upside here, as you can see. Price created this structural high point, created a pullback here, came back up, couldn't break above the last high point, created another pullback, and from this demand zone, price just broke above this last high point, created a break of structure. Sorry, my screen is a mess. Created a break of structure on this line. What else do we have? We have this liquidity line right here, right? We have this liquidity line with loads of trillions and billions of dollars of liquidity, and this demand zone started the overall movement, which was leading to an inefficient movement, break of structure, and liquidity sweep, and tapped us into this supply zone. That's right. We have this demand zone. And please, green, I don't know whose drawing it is. Just remove this drawing, please. I'm asking you nicely. It will be appreciated because, okay, I will just take back the host, remove it myself. I don't know how to remove it. Okay, got it. And John is the host again. Sorry for these small times, but from the next session, this will be solved, and I will give John the co-host. So yeah, from next session, this will be solved, all solved. Sorry for your time, guys. So what else do we have here? Can we identify a clear supply zone in this region up here? Can we identify any clear region? Please don't draw my screen line. Okay. Yeah, we can identify that supply zone, but that isn't a real supply zone. Why am I saying that isn't the right supply zone? Because this couldn't break structure to the downside. As you can see, this was the last structural low point, which changed back the character to the upside. Here was a change back of the character to the upside. Remove the drawing, please. Here was the change back of the character to the upside. And from this supply zone, price literally created nothing. On the 4-hour chart, there's no real break of structure or change of character. It just built up liquidity, and the overall movement started from this candle. On the 50-minute chart, of course, we will have another supply zone up here, but on the 4-hour chart, we can't really identify a real supply zone. There's no supply zone on the 4-hour chart. There will be a supply zone on the 50-minute chart, which change character maybe here or around here. But I'd rather skip this on the 4-hour chart. So let's aim for this on the 50-minute. Okay, let's switch back and focus on this region. So right now, we are waiting for a 15-minute change of character inside of this zone, right? Or a 15-minute break of this zone and retest on that 15-minute demand zone that was leading to a break of this supply zone. These are our options right here. We have to wait. We have to patiently sit on our hands and wait. Let's see the price action on the 15-minute chart. As you can see, this was the flip zone reaction down here. Price reacted on this flip zone down here, started to create a bullish order flow up here, change character here, and the overall change of character started from some demand zone around here. It doesn't really matter for us because price is so far away from this region. We don't really have to mark this demand zone up. Just aim for the current price action. Just focus on the current price action, which is right here. And the current price action is in this region, and the last demand zone is this 4-hour demand zone, and we can't really find it in the 15-minute chart because there's not a clear demand zone in this region on the 15-minute chart. There's small demand zone in this region. There are small demand zones in this region, but let's just leave the 4-hour demand zone because that will be a huge indicator for us for our later target points or for later entry points. Okay, let's focus on this region. As you can see, price tapped the zone perfectly here. Let's see if we can find a 50-minute zone inside of this 4-hour zone. And as you can see, we can find the perfect 50-minute zone, which will start with the inefficient push to the downside and the liquidity swept and break of structure and everything. And this 50-minute supply zone started the whole order flow. And as you can see, price reacted perfectly on this supply zone, which could be our last 15-minute demand zone. Our last 15-minute demand zone, sorry, could be this one, right? This 15-minute demand zone push price to the upside, or even we have a hidden inside bar right here in this region. Because as you can see, this demand zone, let me just remove this. This demand zone is an inside bar. And as we may know, every inside bar is a demand zone or supply zone, right? And price reacted on this demand zone, as you can see, and gave rejection on this demand zone. Price reacted on it, rejected on it, and couldn't break above the last high point. So knowing the fact that this demand zone couldn't give enough power to price to break the last high point and create a break of structure to the upside, this zone will be more likely be broken. So we will see the break of this zone, and we will see either at the top of this zone or either the top of the 4-hour zone. Okay, so we will have a 4-hour change of character below this line. That will be our 4-hour change of character. If this 4-hour change of character happens, or overall shift or overall order flow will shift from bullish to bearish. So if this change of character happens on the 4-hour chart, our bias will be completely bearish. Okay, if price changes character here, that will be a 15-minute change of character, or this will be a 15-minute change of character. That's the strongest 15-minute change of character, or 15-minute order flow will be bearish. But if price changes character here and reacts on this supply zone, in this region, in this movement, supply will be in control, right? Supply will be in control. But as soon as price steps into this demand zone, demand will take over control again. If price breaks below this demand zone, supply will be fully in control, but you have to know which zone is in control. So once again, if price changes character here on the 15-minute chart, supply will be in control in this region, between this supply zone and between this demand zone. If price taps this demand zone, demand will be in control. If this demand zone breaks, supply will be in control. That's easy and simple, right? Okay, let's switch to the 5-minute chart. And let's see what we got here. I'm just going to keep the 15-minute demand zone right here because that's a clear zone. Price clearly reacting on this zone. Price couldn't break below this zone clearly, as you can see. So I'm just going to keep this zone. So price is struggling to break below this zone and struggling to create a new high. What's price doing now? What's it building? Just tell me in the chat, please, or just use our microphone. What's happening right now?
Liquidity.
Liquidity. Exactly, it's building up liquidity, right? So what do we know about liquidity? What do we know about ranges?
Both up and bottom up to
I got shot. They need to be liquidated.
Exactly. What if price liquidates the first side of the liquidity? What will
They
happen
will
later?
Liquidate the above.
Exactly. Yeah. That's basically a 99% rule. If a range has been created in the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart, it will be liquidated. It will be taken out. That's basically a 90% rule. Okay, so the best possible scenario in this case will be if price splits the downside liquidity first, then the upside liquidity. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Sorry? I couldn't hear you.
I said upside liquidity first.
Upside liquidity first. Why would you say upside liquidity first?
And then change character to the downside.
That will be also good. But we have an extreme supply zone up here. If price sweeps the liquidity to the downside first, and then sweeps the upside liquidity first, it will react on this supply zone. And after a supply reaction, we can wait for a 1-minute change of character and entering the trade, because both sides have been swept out and the change of character happened on the downside. So we know that the overall 50-minute structure has been shifted into bearish. So 50-minute change of character to the downside happened. We know that the 50-minute order flow has been shifted into bearish. After the downside liquidity sweep and change of character, price can sweep the upside liquidity and tap into the extreme zone. After tap into the extreme zone and sweep all of the liquidity from the both sides, we can wait for a 1 minute change of character and enter in a trade. That would be the best possible scenario. If price sweeps the upside liquidity first, that will be also nice. That will be also good. It doesn't really matter which side will be swept first, but I'm telling you the best possible scenario right now. If price sweeps the upside liquidity, it will tap into the supply zone. It will change character to the downside. It will create another supply zone, and we can continue the order flow. That's also good. That's also perfect. But the first scenario is the best. Okay. So what can we identify on this 5 minute chart? It's really massive, right? It's massive because it's creating equal highs, equal lows. What can we identify here? We can identify a clear supply zone. We can identify this clear supply zone, or even this whole supply zone up here. Which will be the best? Which will be the best? Let me just mark it. This will be the first, this will be the second. Just type the number. Week? Week, first. Yeah.
Best.
You're basically right. Do you know why? Can you just tell me why you're right? It's not because of the unmitigated, that's right. That's the first good answer. It's not because of the weak.
Rejection.
Let me just clarify it.
Rejection.
What's this? Liquidity, right?
Liquidity.
Liquidity was built up for the zone. Liquidity was built up for this zone. And if the liquidity sweep happens, which zone could hold price? This zone, this big zone could hold price. This downer area has been already mitigated. If the liquidity sweep happens, you will think that this zone is broken and you will aim for longs. But no, we have this upper extreme zone right here. And if the liquidity sweep happens, this zone can hold price and this zone can reverse price to the downside. So currently, we are in a waiting game. It's an extremely hard waiting game because we are at the position where we can't open a short, we can't open a long position without a further confirmation. We need a sweep, we need a change of character or break of structure. We need either of the sweep of this liquidity downside and change of character and short continuations, or we need the sweep of both sides liquidity and break of the upside zone and long continuations. As I said, because if this zone breaks, that will be a 4-hour break of zone break too. And what did I say? And what happens if this zone breaks? Just answer again. What happens if this zone breaks?
We are going to the daily supply zone.
Exactly. We are going to the daily supply zone. Okay, so right now, we are currently in the position where we have to wait. We need for a clear price action. This price action isn't clear right here. We need to sweep of this zone, sweep of the liquidity, break of this zone, reaction on this zone, anything, literally anything. All you have to do is follow price action on the 1 minute chart. Let me just switch to the 1 minute chart. As you can see, the 1 minute chart is even messier. It's just a whole liquidity pool. This region right here is just a whole liquidity pool. It needs to be liquidated, right? It needs to be liquidated. You have to sit on your hands. You have to sit on your hands until you see some clear price action. You see some clear break, you see some clear tap, you see some clear change of character, you see some clear liquidity sweep, change of character, anything. All you need to wait for is a clear sweep of the zone or liquidity. Between this region, of course, you can risk positions. You can risk positions. You can enter positions, but it's risky. It's really, really risky. As you can see, price is reacting on its supply zone. This supply zone reacted on it, swept the liquidity to the upside, reacted on this supply zone, then reacted on the upper zone of the supply zone, then didn't change character here. It just went straight down to the supply zone, 1 minute supply, demand zone. So this region is basically a whole mess. All you have to do is wait. All you have to do is wait for the price action. So let me just zoom out again and see the actual price action on the 5 minute chart. So yeah, once again, price tapped the 4-hour zone, price tapped the 15-minute refined zone inside of the 4-hour zone, reacted on that zone, change character on the 5 minute chart. Here's the change of character on the 5 minute chart. It's the change of character line. Let me just read the chat, sorry. The news at 2 p.m. will fix it, right? Yes, Ramona, it will fix it. Will there be high impact news at 2:30?
Yes.
There will be high impact
Yes.
news. I didn't check
Ye-
it. I will check
yes.
it later. Yeah. So
Yes.
okay, basically, all of these movements were built up for the news. All of these movements were built up for the news sweep, and news will sweep sweep the fuck out of this liquidity for real. Just wait for the news sweep. Do not trade until 2:30 p.m. Just wait for the news. Wait for the storm to be called down. This liquidity will be swept out on both sides. I believe after the liquidity sweep, you can find a clear position and enter in a clear position. Either if it's go to the upside, either if it's go to the downside, you will find a clear position. But what happens if you can't find a clear position on the 1-minute chart and confirmation entry? That's not the end of the world. There are days when you can't trade. There are days when you have to stay away from the market because the price action is unclear. For example, yesterday. Yesterday was a real mess, right? We can all agree on this one. We couldn't even find a good entry opportunity on yesterday, right? There was none. That's perfectly fine. We follow our criteria, we follow our rules, we follow our plan. If you follow your plan, nothing wrong can happen. Just follow your own plan. Just follow your own criteria. If your criteria fits, if your criteria meet, just pull the trigger. If something misses, if something misses from your plan or your criteria, or it's just unclear for you, or you're just insecure about something, just stay the fuck out from the market. You don't have to trade every single day. You don't have to trade every single day and execute 5-10 trades a day. Just calm down. Just calm down and wait for the best opportunities, because the long-term profitable traders are only taking the high opportunity, high probability setups. Just look at any profitable trader. Just look at any profitable table. What am I talking about? Trader. They are only taking the high probability setups. Just take a look at FTMO top list. Just take a look at my forex funds top list. I don't know if there's any top list for my forex funds. Just take a look at the FTMO tier list. The first, second, and third are the top 10 traders on FTMO. How many trades are they executing? How many days are they trading? What's the win rate? What's the overall risk-reward ratio? What's the average risk-reward ratio? You will notice that they are not aiming for the high risk-reward setups. They are not trading every single day. They are not trading on every single minute. They are waiting for the best probability setups, because that's what it takes to be profitable in the long run. You have to sit on your hands. For fuck's sake, sorry for swearing, but that's the truth. I'm seeing loads of you guys are taking small probability and low probability setups and forcing yourself into bad trades. And then after forcing yourself into bad trades, you're just swearing and blaming your USD, blaming price, blaming market, blaming everyone else but yourself. You have to learn when to stay out, and you have to learn when to pull that fucking trigger. Because if you have to pull that trigger, you will pull that fucking trigger. If your criteria meets, if your criteria fit, just pull the trigger. If it's not, then stay the fuck away from the market. Instead of giving your money to the market, you can give your money to me. That's even better. Guys, just literally take the high probability setups only. That's the key in this game. That's the only key in this game. Patience. On Monday, you saw that. Sorry for the psychological talk, but we have to talk about this. So on Monday, we were waiting all day long. We were waiting all day long, right? We were sitting in front of our monitor 3 hours straight, and we couldn't find good setup. But at the end of the day, in the last 10 minutes, there was good setup. There was a fucking good setup. There was a high criteria, full criteria setup. And we all pulled the fucking trigger, and we all booked profit on that. And what we were doing, we were waiting for 3 hours straight for a good setup. Was it worth it? Of course it was worth it, because we booked profit on that trade. I didn't sacrifice our own capital, didn't sacrifice our challenge or any phase for low probability setups. Right? So what's the conclusion? What's the conclusion? Just write it down in the chat. What's the fucking conclusion? That's it. Patience pays. Patience always pays. You will learn this. Seriously, guys, I've been in your situation. Been there, done that. I was impatient also. I was impatient as hell, for real. When I started forex trading, I was impatient. I just wanted to book millions and millions of dollars, thousands of dollars in a day. I just wanted to be rich quickly. I just wanted to make money quickly. Then after experience, I just realized that it won't happen. It won't happen. You have to wait. Forex is a long-term game. Forex is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to wait. How long did it take you to master it? Which part? The waiting game. Patience. Took me a really, really long time. Took me about more than a year. More than a year. Took me more than a year. I was hopping on every single opportunity back then. It took me a year to realize that, fuck, I'm just burning my capital. I'm just burning my own capital. I'm just burning my challenges. I'm just burning my funded accounts. Yes, I've completed the fund account because I was lucky. I was hopping into every single trade. I was hopping into every single order block. I was opening on every single order block, and somehow I managed to pass my challenge. I managed to get my funded account. Then I was like, fuck, this is easy. I'm the king of the Forex game. You know that feeling. The reality hits. The reality hits you in the face. And I lost all of that. I lost the challenge account. Then I lost the personal account. I blew up several personal accounts. And I was thinking that what went wrong? What's my mistake here? What am I doing wrong? Then I realized that I have to wait for the hyperbole setups only, because I backtested a lot. I backtested literally month, years, every single day, hours of backtesting every single day. Then I realized that, okay, this is working. If I take the hyperbole setups, my monthly income will be higher. I'll be able to pass the challenges. Okay, I'm literally booking 30% or 40% each month. If I'm not taking the hyperbole setups, I'm just booking around 20 or 25 or 15. Which one is better? The hyperbole, right? So yeah, just backtest it yourself. You have to backtest a lot to realize this is happening. You can only take the hyperbole setups. And that's it. That's the end of the monologue. I just wanted to make things clear because I saw that loads of you guys are over trading yourself. You just have to slow down. Literally slow down, chill, wait for the high probability setups, wait for the good opportunities. That's all. So yeah, I was just bringing up this topic because some member messaged me yesterday that he took 5% loss on his personal account in a day. Not personal, sorry, challenge account in a day. And he executed 10 losing trades in a day. 10 losing trades in a day. Just imagine. He didn't stop. He just kept executing losing trades, revenge trades, emotion-based trades. See, that can also happen to you. You have to control your emotions and wait on, perfect your waiting game. So yeah, that's it. That's it. Enough of this monologue. Let's focus on price action and switch to the 1 minute chart. As you can see, price almost broke below this zone. Almost broke below this zone. And if I open the lunchtime fake zone indicator, we will see that all of the zones inside of this green box are going to be fake. So yeah, right now we are in this demand zone. We have to wait. We have to patiently wait. And I will just end the recording right now because I will host a quick question and answer in case any of you get any question. So I'm just stopping the record.